economics always wins.
All of us are going to be sitting at home with no job, nothing to do. Hasn't happened.
We talk about it like future of work. It should be called the future that works.
I think the current circumstances of COVID are an ager, an accelerant. We're seeing changes in industries that would normally take 10 years happening in just 3 or 6 months, such as shifts in e-commerce and food delivery.
Employers didn't trust us that we would work well apart from each other. They didn't trust us that we would work from home.
Nobody likes to be micromanaged. We like to be the leader of our own lives.
It really prompted a lot of people to shift from a workplace to really a work experience.
What we're dealing with is this kind of calcification of hierarchy and rules and roles that don't make sense anymore, that maybe come from a factory floor 100 years ago, and a sort of a mentality about commanding and controlling a workforce in a fairly simple context.
So that's the future of work. Smaller, much more agile, and much more mobile teams.
Hopefully it transforms how people think about leadership, how people think about management, what it means to supervise versus to lead.
Maybe what makes a good employee is somebody who doesn't think of work as a 9-to-5 operation, but rather a matrix of times that they come on and offline to solve problems real time.
How do we change the structure to something that's more networked? How do we get more people involved in both the governance of the organization and the operations of the organization, and operate in a way that's more transparent, more decentralized, more focused on kind of local autonomy, and build a system that in the aggregate then is quite adaptive and quite responsive to the needs and challenges of its constituents. You know, if you go watch a group of 5-year-olds play, they've got a lot of that already naturally, and we actually almost need to unlearn.
I'm motivated by stories about certain organizations that change themselves fundamentally, that they're making a company where everyone gets an equal share of the profit, whether you're the executive or the coder or the cleaner.
Economics always wins. The question for government is going to be, how do you deal with a world in which more value is being created than ever before, but at the same time, so much of that is going to such tiny portion of, massive corporations and tech entrepreneurs?
Most of the people who run those companies are also on the boards that make the decisions and the laws. Something has to change, and something has to change quickly.
Late-stage advanced capitalism is designed to end up at a fail state, which is you look for leverage and you gain that leverage and use that leverage until you actually kill the host. We do that in search of efficiency and service and speed and convenience and all these wonderful things. But on the other end, when we actually succeed, we end up with a monopoly, and one that fundamentally destabilizes the foundation that it sits upon, right? It's the old thing that Henry Ford used to say about, like, if I don't pay people a living wage, then they can't buy the car.
If we keep investing in companies, supporting companies that don't have doing good in their DNA, that don't have to behave in good ways, they'll carry on doing what they were built for, which is making as much profit as they possibly can.
So we need to move to where it's profit with purpose. It's not about giving it away. It's about making it work for everyone so that everyone can benefit.
When I'm offered a job between company A or company B, and I find out that company A operates in a way that isn't necessarily good for me or good for other people, but I'm offered more money there, do I choose company B?
So the psychological warfare that I see being done through technology is what my biggest concern is.
So if you practice data symmetry and transparency religiously, you end up with environments where people know what is being tracked about them, and they can see it, and they can understand it, and they can augment it, change it, give permission, take permission away. And the way that we sort of feign at that right now is still pretty weak.
I think that the increasing use of algorithms to automate and scale decision-making is something that introduces risks of systemic bias. But I also passionately believe that AI can be a powerful weapon in our fight against bias?
We have to set in more checks and security policies in order to ensure that we're not going into a dark hole, to ensure a certain level of security by design.
Technology is empowering us right now to break the rules. And I look forward to a time when we're able to use technology to empower us to make the rules, to make new rules that work for the new world that we live in.
So rather than having someone else come in and automate my job away, why don't I be the one to think about what parts of what I do can be made more connected, more automated, more driven by technology, and then elevate my own position to start to look, well, what can I see now if I free up the time and capacity to do so?
How about we change the focus slightly away from buying robots to automate everything to why don't we just unleash the potential of what we've got in those corporations already?
We talk about it like future of work, and I just keep thinking it should be called the future that works, a future that works, one that will end with us being happy, healthy, and alive.